Welcome to this week's edition of Pirate Talk. I'm David Griffin, joined as always by Coach Randy Jackson, as well as joining me today is Buck Rogers. Welcome, guys.
Thank you, David.
First of all, congratulations, Coach, on a playoff clinching victory over Terrell last week. I know that was a big win for the program.
You're exactly right. It was a big win. It's great for us to feel like we've made the playoffs, and after last year just barely not getting in, tying for fourth, not having that tiebreaker. It's a great deal now. We just need to close out the season with some momentum before we go to the playoffs.
Kind of get that load off your shoulders.
That's exactly right. Everybody doesn't get in. There's a lot of great teams that don't get in, and I'm proud for these guys. But now that we've gotten in, we don't talk about it much, but we're glad to be in.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about 3 or 4 of the plays that you saw this week. I know that Buck here had one of the early touchdowns. That was a play we were going to look at today.
The first touchdown, or the first clip we have, is a touchdown by Buck, like you said. But we got in an empty package that we hadn't been in, and we went basically 5 deep balls, and Buck was open, and Tanner made a great throw, and Buck made a great catch. And then the next play was Pat Bracken's. He was our defensive game changer on this play. Read a screen by Terrell and broke on it, and had a great pick six, and great exciting play for him. And the next play is a pass by Tanner. Tanner threw 4 touchdowns the other night and ran for
nice
1.
Game.
So yes, sir, he had a great game. But this was a fade route to Nate Gaines, who's a big junior receiver that we have. And then the last play is another defensive clip by Jonathan Sanders, a senior defensive back, who played over the top perfect and made a great interception. And again, just an all-around good effort and a district win on the road that we were proud to get.
So, Buck, second week in a row that you've made the highlight reel and got a chance to get the touchdown the week before. Talk about that one for just a moment. Did you know you were going to score when you were playing center?
No, sir. It was a crazy play. We practiced it all week, and I really didn't think it was going to work, honestly. And Coach showed me a clip from Lone Oak, and they scored on it, so I was like, hey, I might as well go score on the first
Had you ever
play.
snapped the ball before?
I did in Pee Wee, but wasn't that great. And Coach asked me over the weekend, he was like, can you snap the ball? And I was like, I was a little iffy about it, but we got to practice and we got it down.
So a 2-year starter, you're a 2-year starter,
Yes, sir.
and a captain this year. What is it that you're trying to communicate to some of these younger guys? This is still a young Poteet squad.
Yes, sir. Well, the things that I tell all the guys is if you really want to win state and say everything that you want to do, if you really want to do it, then we'll do it. But you got to put in the work, you got to put in the effort. You got to do extra stuff. It's all work in progress, and you just got to work hard to be where you want to be.
So, Coach, this week you've got a North Forney team moving up this year from 3A to 4A. Certainly been challenging for them, now being 2-6, 1-4 in district. But they do have some good weapons, starting with quarterback Armani Watts.
Armani's a great kid, dual threat quarterback. Probably as many more rushing yards than he does passing. They've kind of went back and forth where they put him at receiver and had a more traditional quarterback. We think they're a little bit more dangerous doing this, and so he had a great game against Creekview, and he's just somebody that we know we're going to have to know where he is.
And when he's throwing primarily to Brendan Lyons.
Yes, sir. Brendan is a great football player, they've got good skill kids everywhere. But Brendan's the best receiver they have.
And on the defensive side of the ball, you have Ellis and Davis, the lineman, and the DB.
Yes, sir. They're strong up the middle. And we think that D lineman is a strength of theirs, and they have 2 safeties. Davis is one of them. They both are good tacklers and pretty aggressive safeties.
So Buck, what is it that you want to communicate as a senior about making sure that the guys don't let down? Obviously, knowing that you made the playoffs, North Forney, not quite the opponent that you're going to have the next week in West Mesquite. How do you keep the guys from letting this be a trap game?
Well, I just let them know that, nothing's easy, and it's just going to be step up from now. I mean, we got North Forney, everybody sees that as a rivalry, and we got West, which is obviously a rivalry, and then we have the playoffs, and there's no tough games, or there's no easy games in the playoffs. It's all tough from here on out.
No easy games in 4A football.
Yes, sir.
So, Coach, back to you. What are you telling the guys in order to keep them focused this week on North Forney with, of course, West Mesquite and the playoffs looming? What are you doing to stay focused?
What we've done is we break our schedule down into different phases, and I put the schedule on the board the other day, and we had non-district, and then we had the middle part of district, and now that we've clinched the playoffs, we're making these last 2 games kind of phase 3 of our schedule. And Terrell was a great game to get all the kids in, and everybody got to play a lot, and we're going to phase 3 now where we're gearing up for the playoffs, and North Forney's it's senior night, and that's a big deal, and but bottom line is we're trying to make sure we're gaining momentum and gaining confidence for the playoffs. We want to play well this week. We feel like we've played well really for a couple of weeks now, and then West Mesquite's West Mesquite, and I think that'll be a great, almost like a playoff preview for us because of that intensity. And
don't get too far ahead. We'll get into that next week. How about
yes, sir.
Well, thank you, Coach. Thank you so much.
Thank
you, Buck. Appreciate you taking the time with us. Well, that'll do it for this week's edition of Pirate Talk. Thanks to Community Life Church, Matt Kane, for helping us each and every week. We'll see you next week.